Thank you all for being here. So I don't know if you want to say a few words to welcome people here. Ivan is welcome. Okay, so we are all happy to be here, and thank you very much for hosting us at ULB. So it's very nice of you to do that, and thank you for organizing all the meeting, and thank you to Julien also and to other staff of ULB who participated. So we had our first kickoff meeting, and now it's our first face-to-face meeting. We will continue to do that, I would say, every 6 months. So this is the planning. So we have tried building on the experience from EoCoE-I to organize the meeting a bit in a different way. In EoCoE-I, many of you said it would be nice to use the meetings to have a working session and to be able to collaborate, to meet people. So we have organized the meeting with a lot of I would say, I don't know the pointer, joint session. So you had some this morning already. I had another meeting, sorry I could not be there. And then we have a plenary session this afternoon with various things that I will come back on. And then tomorrow we again have a plenary session in the morning. And then we have a working meeting in the afternoon. So there's a lot of space. So basically on the 2 days, there's 1 day for plenary session and talks and 1 full day for working meetings. So it's kind of a new organization. So please give us feedback on this organization if you feel it's convenient, if it's good to have this meeting. From the feedback I had from the morning, I believe it's interesting to have this meeting, but we can always change things a bit if you feel it's necessary. So just a short focus on EoCoE that, well, I showed that already and you probably know. So it's a 3-year project. So we spent already a little bit less than a year, 9 months. So we go until 31 of December 2021. And I've already heard that they are preparing probably for a next call for COE, so maybe the project can go on longer. We have a significantly higher budget than last time, with about 1,000 PM, so it's quite a large project. I put that back, financed by DG Connect, not research. So I'm a bit insisting on that because almost all the people in this room are researchers, and we'd like to publish paper to have impact on research. But the COE are meant to have other kind of impact toward industry and towards the HPC community. So we must not forget that, and I will come back to that. And just for the reminder, there are 7 countries and 18 partners and 6 linked third parties. So you have the list of partners. So from France, so Maison d'Assimilation is my lab. You have CA, CNRS, INRIA, and Setbacks, DDN, Chocolate Company, and IFPN also. Quite a few partners from Germany also. So the Jülich Research Center, the Max Planck Institute for Plasma Physics, Fraunhofer, and I always remember Erlangen University. Then partner from Italy with the NER, the CNR from Italy, and the university. Partner from Spain, Belgium, Poland, Spain again, sorry, and University of Bath. So I don't see anyone from Bath here yet. I don't know. So the structure of the project, so we have changed. So this call was more, and we should not forget that, targeted toward HPC more than application and toward Exascale. So the project is organized, the work package, as you know, is organized as a technical challenge. So the objective of the project, right, to obtain a significant result of what we have identified as the Exascale bottleneck. So Scalable solver, programming model, I/O and data flow, and Ensemble run, even if we don't see it very clearly. So it's the main outcome, the main result of the project. And of course, all these bottleneck must serve our 5 scientific challenge, so wind, meteo, material, water, and fusion. And we have a link to our ecosystem. So this is standard, and the link with EERA, we have a focus on that. I don't know if it's this afternoon or tomorrow, so it's very important. So the idea is really to build a sustainable structure dealing with, I would say, modeling and HPC for energy within EERA, and we are making progress on that issue, so I will report on that later. And so this is the key action of the project now. So here you have all the technical challenge, all the scientific challenge, and all the dots are where we have the most impact. So I will come back to that, but we had, so first we had a cut in budget, so we modified the material work package. And then now we have some issue with fusion, again with material and a bit with meteo. I will comment on that later. So I think we have to keep on track on this, I would say on this technical aspect and on this Exascale challenge, and maybe adapt a bit on the scientific challenge. I would say to adapt to the circumstance, and I will come back on that a bit later. That's the structure of the project. So it's not me. So we have a project coordinator, and project manager Julian, and we do the interface with the European Commission. As you know, we have to do reporting to the Commission, and for that reporting we need information. So it's very important, and Julien will comment on that we have a good flow on the information, and we can only report information that you are giving us. We cannot invent things. And so in the reporting, there are several aspects. So we have, of course, the deliverable. So there it's clear we have a list. And we also have many things about dissemination and what we do and the impact of the project. And for that, we really need feedback from all of you, from publications that you do thanks to the project money, for dissemination, seminars, public outreach, linked with industry, many aspects. So Julien will comment on that. And I insist that we really need feedback from all of you, and it doesn't have to be a long report, just one line. I've published this paper, it's citing EoCoE. I went to this conference, presented word from EoCoE. I mean, it can be very quick, but we, of course, need that. So we have a PEC, as in the last project, who gather all the work package leader and scientific change leader, a steering board which represents the institution in the meeting. The only really new thing in this Exascale co-design group, which is led by Paul. So this Exascale co-design group is meant to really kind of gather all the technical challenge and to make sure that we have a clear path to Exascale, that what we do, the technical developments that we make are really useful for the application, and it's really eventually to solve problem and to drive the project and the work we do toward Exascale, or at least highly scalable application. So I think we'll have a first meeting of this Exascale co-design group here, and it's important really to report the progress toward Exascale and to make sure we work together in the right direction and in a coordinated way. So that's the general structure of where people work. So you probably already know all this. So we have here all the technical challenge, the scientific challenge, and then logo of the different partner. So I will give you the slide, so that probably you know already, but you can really see who is doing what in the project. Then the objective. We have different, so that's the high-level objective of the project, and that's basically what we will be judged on during the reporting. Yeah, I forgot to say for the reporting, so we'll very likely have a midterm evaluation project, so in basically 9 months, probably, I mean, I didn't have any clear date yet, but probably in spring or early summer, and then we will have an evaluation at the end of the project, like last time. So we have transformational energy science, and I would say science in the 5 low carbon energy sector, and developing Exascale application. So I think we are very good at that. We have the best experts, so I think it's kind of an easy objective. Developing cutting-edge application and computational method, it's also easy. I mean, it's difficult, but we have, I would say, the good people, and it's our natural work to do that. So that's two, I would say, science objective that I think we will fulfill naturally, as we did for the last project. So we should, of course, keep them in mind, but I would say it's a natural flow of things. And then we have two other objectives, which are more oriented toward having impact towards the industry. And I guess it's not so natural for us to do that, so we really need to work on that a bit more. That's the outreach to industry and SMEs, including training activity and trying to reduce the skill gap. So it means to have impact on the energy community at large and on people doing, I would say, HPC and numerical work for energy. And the last objective is trying to build and coordinate the development of HPC tool for energy. So that will be done, I think, both these things in close link with EERA. But it's something that we need to work on, and also where we need to gather information. I guess we all have contact with SME industry here and there. We do trainings, and so we also need a lot of feedback from you on these two aspects, which are a bit more difficult to achieve. So the industrial outreach, so it's something important where we need help. So we have a dedicated session this afternoon with Meta Group. So Meta Group was introduced to us by Enea, and Enea has, I would say, already an experience with them, with Meta Group. So the idea we have with Meta Group is trying to extract from EoCoE a few cases where you can clearly have an industrial impact. So Meta Group will come today and introduce their methodology and what they expect. And then I think Massimo already sent an email to present what we will do, but I can phrase it again. And then we'll try to identify a few cases where we believe we could build up a service or any kind of service for the industrial community. And we will work a bit on those, try to elaborate them, and then we will choose a few of these services, maybe 2 or 3, and then these 2 or 3 services, Meta Group will work with them on, I would say, a longer period of time, maybe, I don't know, a year or so, or a bit more, to really try to refine them and go to the, maybe not the end of the story, but to the point where we can have a really, I would say, complete service offer for these 2 or 3 cases that have been identified. So the work will start today. Then we will do continue some brainstorming in the coming weeks. And the idea would be maybe within 1 or 2 months time frame to identify these most providing services, and then to try to work with them. So Meta Group plus the person involved in these services on the long run, really to shape the services and make a clear offer to the industry. Another thing I wanted to say is one of the things we have promised in EoCoE is to propose a software as a service platform. So this platform is composed of 2 things. First, the platform itself. So PSNC will implement the platform. Very likely, it's not 100% sure, but based on a solution, a Bull Extreme Factory solution. So they are in contact with Bull and they are discussing with them. And so it's either that or I would say a PSNC homemade solution. So they will implement the platform and deliver it to the project. And then the next thing, so I mean, that's a lot of work, but it's clear what they have to do, and people of PSNC are working hard to do that. And then what we need is an application to fit this platform. And so all of you are potential application provider. So we need to identify the applications that could be put on the platform. So please spread the word, I mean, among you and among the project. So the idea is to have application and to have a clear test case. And so basically with the platform, you can run a code with a few. The idea is to have simple way to access the code with a few parameters, and the interface lets you play with these few parameters. So the idea is you can have a complex code, but it's really to prepare it and set it up for a simple test case, and then you can propose this test case to a large audience using the portal, and people can come and I would say play with the code, get their results on something simple, and then if they believe the code is useful, they can, I mean, there will be contact, so they can come to you and try to do more complex thing with the code, but not necessarily using the platform. So the idea to start is not to have a pay-per-use platform. It's not, the platform will be used more like a demonstrator to try to attract people, show what the code can do, and then develop longer-term collaboration. So I think now we have 2 application groups are potentially interested concerning Parflow and Alia. So that's 2 code, but you could eventually have several I would say services with a single code. For example, Alia can do many things. So, and the idea is, I mean, Alia is too complex for people to adopt the full code on the platform. So you could have several test cases with the same code, doing a simple and targeted aspect. So I think we have many more applications that could benefit and be ported on this platform. So please think of simple services that could be offered to advertise for the code. And of course, this will be one of our main things that we can do to have outreach to industry. So this is Extreme Factory example, admin view and user view. Just one precision. So now we have 2 applications, which are Parflow and Alia, which has code where we have been working on this code during the project. But the platform is largely open, so any code of your institute that you know of, even if we don't work on the code within the project, is of course welcome to the platform, and we would like to advertise as many code as possible. So any code that you know of and that could have industrial usage is welcome on the platform. Just the tools that we had in the project that all of you. So we have, of course, the website. Now it's in production, and I think we will need material for all of you to feed the website. And so I think a work package leader and scientific challenge leader will have a direct access to the website, probably can open access for other people. And so if you do something nice, just a little text, a picture, it would be good for the website, good to disseminate also through our newsletter. And so please be proactive and provide material. We have also, so both of these are run by Enea, so the collaborative platform. It's a GAR, so where we can have a shared document and exchange interactively a calendar also with all the events of the project. We have our YouTube channel where we can put videos. So for example, this session is recorded as were the previous meetings, and if you have also video of simulations that you've done on other things, they can be put on the YouTube channel. We had a VNC server. It was not very much used, so we don't have it anymore. But it's always possible to bring it back to life if people believe it's useful. We have this GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar that we are which are open to everyone, and so the GoToWebinar should be used more. So please, if you have ideas of webinar, and we'll come back to that, don't hesitate. We mentioned a data repository, and then we didn't go much further. So we had in EoCoE-I a data repository which was mainly used by linear algebra people and users to exchange matrix. I don't know if you want to continue with that, so you can discuss about it, and if something, I mean, there are already tools existing, but if you think it's interesting to set up something for the project, it's always possible to do it. we have the GitLab of Maison de la Simulation, which is useful. Then there was development tool, and Eduardo was kind of keen of using Trello, and I think he's using it for his work package. So other people are welcome to do it. So it's a free tool, so I would say the project has no added value, but we promote it because we believe it's a good tool. And we have a mailing list, so all of you should have access to it, and we can set up more mailing list if needed. So then you will have a presentation of all the work package, just a little teaser. So work package 1 gather all the Exascale science challenge, and so you will have a presentation of an introduction maybe by Eduardo, and then presentation of the 5 scientific challenge that we are working on. WP2 is programming model. So there was already some performance evaluation workshop. Hackathon will be organized, and the first deliverable. Linear algebra, there's also quite a lot that have been going on, and a workshop will probably be organized in Nepal in a year time frame, maybe with a face-to-face also. We have to look to that. WP4 is I/O and workflow. There's also been quite a lot of work that will be presented, I don't know, this afternoon or tomorrow morning. And also Ensemble Road. So that's concerned a lot the meteo and the water scientific challenge. And there have been also quite a few things going on. So that will be presented later today and tomorrow morning. Now a few issues that we had. So in the scientific challenge, there have been some issue mainly with people. So first of all, in the fusion work challenge, there was a key engineer, Guillaume Latu, who was at ERFM and who changed. So he's still at CA, but he changed lab, and he cannot be involved in the development of Gisela anymore, and that was an important setback. So we had a bit to review what we wanted to do with Gisela. It's more or less on track now, and we could, I would say, arrange things without changing the description of action so much. And so this is more or less settled. There is another issue with the meteo scientific challenge, because so that was managed by the lead scientist was Hendrik Elbern, who was at Jülich, and he has retired, and they were supposed to hire somebody else, and there have been issues with this recruitment. So now there is delay in the start of the work. We still hope that it will be possible to hire someone, but so now this is, I would say, a bit pending, and we will have to decide within the next week, or hopefully not much more, what to do with the Meteos challenge, because we need a lead scientist. And also for material, so the material challenge changed a bit, so we have cut the work with QMC pack due to the budget cut. That was something that we have dropped, and now we have to see, and it's probably a good place to discuss that, how we work between Enea and Jülich with PVNGF to make, because the main developer of PVNGF, I think, left Jülich, so to see if everything can be achieved as is, as is described in the description of work. So that is the main issue. So it's nothing. Those problems are not insurmountable, but they should be discussed. And in general, and Julien will answer that, if there's an issue or you think a deliverable is late, you should really mention it, and so that we can take action and make sure that we try to fall back on our leg and solve the problem. So now Julien. So I don't know if all of you know. So Julien is our project manager. I think most of you met him, and if not, we are very pleased to welcome Julien.
Hi everyone. As Edouard was saying, the issue we've run into lately are not unexpected. This kind of project, of course, run into hurdles and things. The things I'd like to insist on is that it is really imperative that when you run into this kind of issue, you identify what is going wrong and that you start talking within your institution and with your work packages or scientific challenges leaders, mostly to define whether the issue you've run into will have a major impact or not on the description of the action and on what we've promised to deliver to the European Commission. Because if it does have this kind of impact, it means we have to start engaging a real dialogue with the Commission to rectify the description of work. If it's just, let's say, a question of planning, time, deadlines, identify it, see what the rectified planning could be, communicate with us so we can warn the Commission. Usually they're always open to changing a planning and moving a deadline as long as we are as transparent as possible with them about the issue we're encountering. So yeah, you have this general guideline, the idea being so that, well, talk it, determine what's going on, how we could rectify it, and what the new planning would be, and when you have done this, come to us and we'll discuss the situation with the European Commission on your behalf. So when I'm talking about planning, what I meant was the deliverable list, which is very much the deadlines that we are all given. And what I wanted to say was that these are not set in stone. If you see that you've had trouble hiring someone, that you'll be running late, try to figure out what would be the updated planning for this deliverable. Like you've promised something month 18, you see that it's not going to be done because you're running 6 months late into hiring the postdoc that was supposed to carry on the work. Communicate about it, let us know how you're dealing with the situation, and we'll discuss it with the European Commission. Telling them we've had trouble hiring because this topic is extremely, is a high-level scientific issue, so finding the right people is tricky, is something they can hear. Just, we have to be transparent about it. We cannot arrive at month 18 and say, oh, by the way, we'll be running 6 months late in the deliverables, and we've known it for 6 months. Okay, this is a quick point on the impact that we promised on this project. As Edouard said, we are covering pretty much 2 separate fields here. The one is, let's say, fundamental research. So this is what he's considered the easy part. For instance, the question of the libraries we're supposed to integrate in EoCoE codes, the applications, and the participation of eco-based application to the extreme scale demonstrator projects. So that's, in theory, very much your wheelhouse and something you should be able to carry on without major issues. The tricky part is the question of moving beyond the limit of the EoCoE consortium, and so finding users for our flagship applications outside of the consortium. As you can see, we are committed to finding at least 10 of them and at least 3 from the industrial sector. Hence the importance of a demonstrator like the Software as a Service platform to find these people. And in the same idea, we are supposed to find and engage with SMEs, industries and consortia, and providing them our expertise, so at least 10, let's say, client and users. Finding, well, triggering new collaborations, at least 10, producing a position paper with ERA, this shouldn't be a major issue, and organizing 6 events and actions with other European HPC projects is also something that is going on rather smoothly. The last question on impact is training people. We are supposed to train at least 200 trainees on HPC technologies and at least 50 trainees on performance optimization. As mentioned here, the goal is that these trainees should be, well, if possible, female, since we are dealing with a very male-dominated scientific field. But yeah, once again, the things I'm insisting on here is that we have committed to really strict and ambitious indicators regarding our outreach beyond the consortium. So that's something that everyone will have to pull through together. As for these dissemination activities, Edouard mentioned the importance of communication. I'd like to insist on this once again. The dissemination of results is a contractual obligation. It's something that appears in the consortium, in the grant agreement. So everyone has to do its share on it. Allow me to remind you that any peer-reviewed publication that is linked to the project has to be open access. I hope all of your institutions are clear regarding open access rules and how these things are supposed to work. In case they're not, I mean, I worked in institutions where they were not on the level with this matter. See with your institutional support services. If you see that this is not something they're used to, please get in touch with us, and we'll start engaging a dialogue with them. Just know that it's an obligation. You cannot publish a peer review article and not have it accessible through open access. Open access means that the last version of your manuscript has to be deposed in a online repository, granting full access to viewers and with definitive electronic signature regarding the document you uploaded, and a few mentions like Horizon 2020, the name of the project, the grant agreement number, these kind of things. So if you have any doubt, once again, get in touch with us and we'll start discussing these questions. As for all dissemination materials, including posters, any kind of display you'd be using for talk, for instance, you have to make sure that the following material appears, so the EU emblem and this text. The text appears in the grant agreement. It really has to have this form and not another one. And please, as Edouard said, when you are engaging into a dissemination action, please communicate with the work package 6 leaders in ENEA so they are aware of what you've been doing and can keep track of who is doing what. In terms of internal communication guidelines, what we wanted to implement is that when you have your work packages or scientific challenges meeting, please spend even a few minutes on the question dissemination, something like who did what and where are we on this, and then send an email to ENEA to inform them of what has been discussed during this internal meeting. So on a regular basis, like a monthly one, they can keep a track of what you're doing. And we have also agreed with ENEA that every 6 months I'll send a general email asking the whole consortium to provide some feedback on what they've been doing over these last 6 months. Regarding the question of the webinars, we intend to organize at least one webinar per work package in 2020. So that means that we have already been discussing a few possible topics. But if you have any idea, any webinar that is planned within your research institution, research structure, whatever, that could be a webinar linked to the EoCoE project, get in touch with your work package leader and see how we can brand this webinar as an EoCoE webinar. As for the deliverables, as you know, this being quite the ambitious project, we are committed to deliver 30 deliverables across every work packages. The internal guidelines we've decided to use is that every 2 months before the deadline of your deliverable, I'll be sending you an email reminding you of it. We have created a list so that 2 PEC members will be assigned to review a deliverable. So 2 weeks before the deadline, you'll have to send them your deliverable so they review it, and once they validate it, we'll be uploading it. If you are running late, same guideline, please communicate with us so we can see what we could do, eventually want the commission if needs be. So far, we have delivered these 5 deliverables, the handbook being uploaded but not submitted, given that this is a deliverable that is meant to be updated during the project's timeframe. So the other one have been definitely submitted. The real warning points here, okay, quick point, for 2019, as was mentioned, there's still one deliverable that remains to be submitted, the co-design of LA solvers. I think it's the object of a meeting, because we had been running late on this one, and we are waiting for an updated strategy on what we should be doing for this specific deliverable. Another warning point, we have a whole batch of deliverables planned for month 18, that is to say June 2020. Sorry, I wrote 2019, it's 2020, sorry. So as you can see, this is quite the list. It ranges across all work packages. keep this deadline in mind. Some work packages have several deliverables to submit at this point, so organize yourself and make sure that we do not meet the deadline. Given that it's very much the mid-term project review, the European Commission will be watching this with extra attention. So let's keep this deadline in mind and work together so we meet what is expected from us. A quick point on the upcoming activities for the project. I'll start with the workshop, given that it's the first thing that is going to happen. So at the beginning of October, that the Work Package 2 evaluation workshop in Erlangen. Registrations are open, and Mathieu, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's still some seats available if some people would like to join. Okay, still available. After that, next November will be a very activity-heavy month. We want to make sure that the next iteration of the EoCoE newsletter gets published before Supercomputing 2019. So from here to November, please start giving feedback for this upcoming newsletter. And so in November, there will be the HPCI Big Data Conventions Day in Paris, and in Denver, the Supercomputing 2019. I think it's in parallel to Supercomputing. There's the Institute Infrastructure for Enabling Extreme Scale Analysis and Visualization. So if I'm correct, CEA, Barcelona, and INRIA will be present at Supercomputing 2019. Ulish also? Okay. And Bruno Raffin will be the paper co-chair of the ESAV workshop. And for BSc, Leonardo Bautista Gomes will be the ESC 2020 tutorial chair, so he will be attending several meetings. So as you can see, the EoCoE project will have quite a presence on the meeting, including institutional booth and meetings. And yeah, I think that's it for me. So that's what a quick recap on what's coming next year. Yeah, quick point. Yvan was telling me that we can walk to the social dinner after this afternoon. It's a 15 minutes walk from the ULB. And that's the planning of tomorrow afternoon meetings. For those of you who may not have gotten the final sheet of paper on the table right there. So these are what's planned tomorrow. Okay, well, thank you very much, and I think we'll move on to the work packages presentation.